Huzzah! And welcome to Beefy Time. I'm Beefy by name and nature, and I just want to talk to you a little bit about Marvel's The Defenders. Now, straight off the bat, I really enjoyed this series. It had its flaws, definitely had its flaws, but I loved it. I was entertained throughout. I think it had just the right amount of episodes, because even the good series, even like Daredevil and Luke Cage, it was a bit of a slug towards the end, but this just felt right. Maybe it could have done with one or two more. But for the most part, I was satisfied. Like it left me wanting more, but I think more might have been a bit greedy and might have been a bit too much. It definitely would have had that same problem that all the other ones have had. Overall, the cast had a really good dynamic. Like it definitely felt like a team. The relationships, like Daredevil and Jessica Jones, that was really interesting. It would have been nice to see a bit more from Luke Cage and Danny Rand. Like I don't feel like they're gonna get to the place that they're meant to be, because those two in the comics are best friends. Like they always have been. They've ran the Heroes for Hire. They still do, but not. It's not as big a thing as it used to be back in the day. It was nice seeing all the kind of the little side characters, the little supporting characters like Foggy and Luke Cage, like their interaction right at the very, very start. It was nice to see, and everyone kind of felt blended in like that. It definitely felt like a universe in itself. It's a shame that this doesn't really have anything to do with the movie universe, because it just would have been so much more satisfying to have seen one of them pop up in a movie or someone from a movie pop up in this. But nonetheless, I'd say that definitely the biggest problem that this series had is the villain. Now, the villain is usually the driving point of a lot of movies, and unfortunately the Hand are just boring as shit. I don't hear many people disagreeing with me. Like, just it's a cool idea. It's cool in the comics. Like, you have these undead ninjas, and like on paper that should work. That should just be a thing that is just like hella fucking metal, just like slaying undead ninjas. But it's just not. It's not. It just would have been nicer to have something a bit more, I don't know, character driven, I'd say. Everything is kind of run by Sigourney Weaver's character. Like she was fine, but I didn't really believe her as a villain massively. Like, she was there doing villainous things, but I didn't kind of buy into it. And it's tough to not think that way when we've had like Kingpin, Coppermouth, the Purple Man. Okay, like Iron Fist doesn't count, because this is. Do you know what? This is probably what went wrong with Iron Fist as well. This is my biggest problem with Iron Fist, and probably a lot of other people. Is again, the villains just weren't all that interesting. It felt like a step in the wrong direction. And it's funny because it's obvious that Iron Fist is supposed to be the cornerstone of this. Everything kind of jumps off of Iron Fist. It starts with him, and it starts with him chasing down the Hand, and then the whole series is like it revolves around him, and they all need him for this thing. It was so uninteresting that, like, I don't know, not uninteresting. It was just, I was more kind of gripped by the fact that it was just this team of people that I really like, and then Iron Fist over here. And don't get me wrong, Iron Fist is like one of my favourite characters. Like, I love his origin. I can't believe that they fucked up his story as much as they did. Like, it's a dude who, his dad has gone crazy and decides to take his family to find this mystical village, and he ends up dying, and the mum and son are like stranded in the wilderness. They get attacked by wolves. The mum sacrifices herself to save the boy, even though like the boy will probably end up dying from the wolves after they've eaten her, and he randomly manages to get saved by the village that his dad was hunting, and he gets trained by them, and then he returns to civilization, and it's all like it's this awesome kind of kung fu story. It's this mystical adventure, and they fucked it. I think the only other major problem is the fact that this didn't really offer anything new. It's nothing we hadn't seen before, because as I said, we've already had a lot of the Hand stuff. We've had it in Daredevil and Iron Fist. You had a Daredevil that is all broody and doesn't want to give away his secret identity. You had Danny Rand, who was just insufferable. You had Luke Cage, who was this tough dude who doesn't want to let his emotions be shown. And you had Jessica Jones being incredibly awkward amongst a team, which actually was a really, to be fair, I can't complain about that, because that was a good highlight. There's a nice moment where she just decides, like, sod this, like, this is ridiculous, like, I'm not a superhero, I'm a PI, and she walks away. But without spoiling anything, she kind of, well, it's not really a spoiler if like the whole show is around this team of 4. Like, she obviously comes back at one point. Admittedly, I have bitched maybe a bit too much about Iron Fist, but I just feel like they're not treating the character correctly. Like, it's really frustrating as a fan of his comics and as a fan of him. I genuinely think that the best thing that they can do is, instead of doing a Luke Cage season 2, instead of doing an Iron Fist season 2, just do Heroes for Hire. Like, maybe that's what they're going to do. Maybe like that could be season 2 of Iron Fist, or might be even season 2 of Luke Cage, although they've already released a few pictures. But I think that could be interesting. It'd be a lot more lighthearted than what they tried to do. Just as a heads up, this next bit is going to get a little bit spoilery, not massively, but a little bit. So if you care about that sort of thing, then maybe stop watching now. What's interesting now is the potential for future storylines. I'll be interested to see what they do with all the different characters. Like, at the very end, we had Daredevil lay in a bed all bandaged up and being taken care of by nuns, which is a famous moment in Frank Miller's Born Again comic. We've got an armless Misty Knight, which means that she might have a bit more of a superhero role in like the next Luke Cage series. Because, in case you don't know, she has a bionic arm, usually, if I think it's the right one. She has a bionic arm, and that makes her a superhero. Absolutely no idea what they're going to do with Iron Fist, because obviously they fucked him to this point, so why not fuck him further? At least buy him a little bit of dinner first. And Jessica Jones will be interesting, because apparently Purple Man has been cast for season 2. So I don't know if that's just going to be flashbacks, like kind of remnants, but, you know, if you haven't seen it, the dude's dead. Like, be interesting, to say the least. Overall, I'd say this is probably about 3.5 stars out of 5. I didn't really plan on giving it a rating, but if I'm going to be doing more of these, I might as well. Might have a consistent theme going on. In terms of rankings, I'd probably say at the top is Daredevil Season 1, maybe Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, kind of like a toss-up between this and Daredevil Season 2, and then you have right down here, Iron Fist. And that's your lot. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you like this video, give us a cheeky like or a dislike if you didn't. Subscribe if you want to see more, and until next time, stay handsome.